Senior Research Fellow at the Global Policy Institute, and he joins me now from Saint-Malo in France. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. So a good day for the Green Party and its left-wing allies, but not so good for Macron and the ruling party. Where did it all go wrong?
It was never going to be a good day for Macron because municipal elections tend to first rely on the experience of the teams already in place, and Macron did not have any local representation. Don't forget that the last municipal election were in 2014 and he was elected in 2017, managed to get a majority in the National Assembly, but lacks totally local representation. And he had earmarked a few towns in which he hoped to make progress, especially Paris and Lyon, and both of them ended up in disastrous situation. The candidates lost immediately, even in the first round in Paris. The campaign was disastrous, and therefore Macron was hoping that this election, he could just clear it, that it would say, okay, it's the same. We elected sometimes left-wing mayors, sometimes right-wing mayors, but it's all right. There's not much political significance. What he had not counted for is the huge rise in support for the Greens, and that came as a big surprise to most observers.
So you mentioned some of the criticism that Macron's been facing, and we know that these were local elections, but how much have the national and international policies of Macron impacted the result?
I don't know whether his policies impacted on the results. As I said, the big problem is the lack of implementation. He did not have any good candidates anywhere, and most of them had to make alliances, most of the time with the right, sometimes with the left in different towns. So, but what he has to take into account is the mood of the country unveiled by this election. First, struck by the fact that 60% of voters did not turn up, and then second, that in major cities, the left Green Alliance scored major successes. Now, the left and the Greens hold 25 of the 42 towns in France of over 100,000 inhabitants. So he's faced with a kind of, his electorate of 2017 is now more attracted to a more radical environmental policy and more left-wing. Macron was elected with a lot of center-left vote, and now what he has to face is the fact that the center-left sees for itself a future with an alliance with the Green. So it is a very significant election in what it means for the next presidential election and the strategy that Macron will have to adopt in the next couple of years. Right. Now he's faced with a big dilemma. Should he hear the message, let's go green, be more radical, or should he try to keep his policies, do a bit of environment, but softer, retain a fairly social liberal policy? And he has a dilemma. Now, will he be in 2022 the candidate of center-right with an ecological dimension? And he risks the danger of facing strong green-red alliances if they manage to get on.
One of the interesting things to emerge from this was the far-right National Rally Party winning control of a French city with more than 100,000 people for the first time in more than 2 decades. What does this tell us?
Actually, this result appears spectacular, but it's the only success that the National Front, or how they call now the National Rally, has gained. Yet they gained another city, Béziers, in the first round of the election. So otherwise, yes, big success there in Perpignan, but in Perpignan, it did not really play. He did not even invite Marine Le Pen. Perpignan is a local a very local, typical local situation with a lot of violence and troubles and a big demand for law and order. Perpignan is a right-wing town. They defeated a soft right-wing municipality, and so therefore, no, the National Front is not pleased with the result of this election. They still think they are going to be there in the second round or in 2022, but I wouldn't be surprised if the left and the Greens, if they manage to get together, would make a more interesting proposal as an opposition to Macron in 2022. So it's not been a great day for Marine Le Pen and her movement.
Okay, Jacques Reland, thank you so much for joining us on the program today and sharing that insight with us.